Hello, everybody. Give me a minute here, okay? Just give me a second here. Hang on. Oh, I'm done. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got one more friend. L E E. Huh. No, no, no. Ah, done. All right. Just give me a second here. Give me a second here. All righty. A few more seconds, I'll start. All righty. I'm going to start right now. Well, in case you haven't heard, CNN, the Communist News Network, the Clinton News Network, the most fake biased news out there. I mean, CNN is not a news agency no more. They're a tabloid agency, basically, right now. But Anderson Cooper, 360, and his bias and his fake way, had that dash go on TV and just make up the unbelievable that all the people on the walkaway movement are Russian bots. Russian bots. And I think he tried to prove his algorithm and stuff like that, and the other BS. And I'm thinking, so you're telling me these people who chooses to walk away from the Democrat Party, or even a lot of them are walking away from the Republican Party, which that's fine too. I can understand the reasons why. But you're telling me that they're all Russian bots through algorithm and stuff like that. They're Russian bots. Now I look at these people. Hey, they're not Russians. They're Americans from all walks of life, from all racial and nationality stuff like that. Let's put it that way. I see lots of people, millions of them, just leaving the Democrat Party in droves, and some of them the Republican Party as well, which that's okay too, because they won't longer align themselves to any political party, if I understand, and some are jumping on the conservative side. But I mean, I just can't believe the audacity that Anderson Cooper 360 will go on TV and trying to convince us that they're Russian bots, trying to convince his audience that Russian bots, lie to his audience that they're Russian bots. There's nothing Russian about this movement any damn way. These are real people. I go on YouTube or the Walkaway Facebook page, and I see millions. I mean, I'm sorry, but several videos, different people with different background, different races, and different ethnic groups. Put it that way. I mean, well, get the picture, okay? These are just thousands of people, not millions of people, walking away. And they're doing it for their own reasons while they're walking away. A lot of these people, I would say this, was on the Democrat side, most of them, pretty much most of their lives for a long time. When they see how the Democrat Party in general, that align themselves with the far left, dissolve themselves to basically a joke nowadays, they said, I don't know part of this. I saw this coming over a year ago. I made a video about this over a year ago, but that's besides the point. Of all the violence and hatred that the far left or the left and the Democrats are preaching right now is just unreal. And it's uncivilized. I mean, you see this shit on TV on all news network. I just one. You see it on CNN. Will show this shit on stuff. I saw it on there myself. All these people rioting, beating people up, flipping cars over, destroying people's property and everything else. It's just unreal. Unreal. It's like today's society, today's far left world, if anything goes wrong, it's Russia's fault. Even though Russia has nothing to do with us, basically, but still their fault. I mean, what do you think they're doing? Do you think that Putin is sending Russian agents to the United States and telling people, convince people to walk away from the Democrat Party? I don't think so. These are like what I'm seeing highly intelligent people who made a sound decision to walk away from the Republican Party with good reasons. Okay, I'll talk more about that later. But but that's like I'll say this again. So Putin, the Kremlin, the KGB are sending Russian foreign agents to the United States, try to convince Americans to walk away from their political party, especially Democrat Party. I don't think so. I don't think so. It had nothing to do with algorithm or codes or anything else like this, or Russian spies, Russian bots, or Russian androids or nothing like that. What's this about is people getting so fed up with the power they feel with themselves for so many years. Like majority were Russian Democrats. A lot of them are turned to registered independents, and in a lot of cases registered Republicans. I'm not saying these people who walk with the Democrat Party are automatically turn themselves into Trump supporters. No, they're walking away. They're walking away to rethink, to kind of rethink what they're doing, or what their political belief system has been all these years and everything else. That's what they're doing. They're like reinventing themselves. Let's put it that way, you know, because they attached themselves to a party for so many years where the Democrat Party, the liberal media, and the far left have become so violent, so hatred, targeting one group of people to elevate another and everything else. Where the majority of these people says, "Hey, what's this all about?" I said, "Enough of this. I'm out of here," and rightfully so. Rightfully so. This was all about is people walking away from the political power they feel with themselves for many years and rethink themselves, reinvent their political identity and everything else, or ideology, and think, what direction do I go here? Yes, a lot of them jumped off. A lot of them became Trump supporters. A lot of them became independents. A lot of them are just rethinking themselves, what they think about conservatives, what they think about the Republicans, the Dems, how the Dems turn into today. I mean, today the Dems are just out of control, and they just create this false narratives day in and day out. I mean, with this Trump and Putin summit they had in Europe a few days ago, okay, calling the president treasonous just because he wants to have a dialogue with Russia, where two countries control 90% of the nuclear arsenals around the world. Do we want a war with, do you want odds with Russia? Do you want to go to war with Russia? Seems like to me you do. Seems like the neo-libs and the neocons wants like a war or a cold war with Russia. Is that what you want? This right here is just totally insane. It's getting way out of fucking hand. And it's really aggravating, well, kind of funny too, how the media is feeding into this. Well, majority of the media is put it this way. Not all the media, but majority of the media are just feeding into this. And what's the Dems, who's calling Trump treasonous, Comey, I think something like that on CNN says it's like they live in empathy, the using Franklin Delano Roosevelt, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt saying it said they live in infamy. Give me a fucking break. Come on now. This is the reason why a lot of people are turning off CNN and going somewhere else, going to the alt media. And my part, a lot of people are jumping to the alt media for a reason. They're jumping to Alex Jones, Next News Network, Kevin's Corner, let's put it this way, Anomaly. They're jumping to those areas, okay, because they're a little more fair and a little more biased. I mean, Alex Jones, you want to call him a conspiracy, conservative, terror, whatever, but Alex Jones is right down the middle. He's just right down the middle. The majority of these people I talk about, they're right more in the middle. They don't elevate one party over another. They don't. I mean, Alex Jones he don't like President Bush at all, basically. You just look at his past videos and study a little bit, and you'll find out Alex Jones never liked President Bush Jr. He never liked him, not one bit. And he questions 9/11, and rightfully so. But I'll digress from that. I got off track, and I apologize. But hashtag move it, walk away, Russian boss, that's just pure BS. It's more propaganda and lies by the left wing media, trying to throw at people saying the Russians are doing this. I'm like, no, these are regular Americans, regular people, the everyday people who has regular jobs who decided to leave the Democrat Party. I mean, the hashtag walk away movement that was started by an ex-liberal. He was was a homosexual. He used to be like a hairdresser. I forgot his name, but that's beside the point. I posted this video multiple on my page, Jerry's World, stuff like that. But he started this, and slowly but surely, more and more and more people started to join him. And this used to be, well, a campaign now it's turned into a major movement, which is scaring the Democrat Party, and they should be worried. We're not talking a couple hundred people, 1,000 people. It looks like a couple million people. And to the Dems, this is getting scary because they're hopeful for the blue wave in 2018, and it's slowly diminishing. I think they're going to think this Trump Putin summit is a ticket to get their blue wave, and that's going to backfire them as well because we see through this. They see through this, okay? And going back to Russia, and when Trump says we need an open dialogue, we need good relations with Russia, he's not the first president who's doing this. I mean, Obama, there's a clip I posted on Jerry's World, where it was back in 2012. We had the Obama and Mitt Romney debates. Let's put it that way. And Obama told Romney, so I'm glad you think that Al Qaeda is America's greatest threat. Where he said Russia is not America's greatest threat. The Cold War ended over 20 or 30 years ago. So basically, during a presidential debate, President Obama was defending Russia, and nobody said a word about that. Hillary Clinton says we need good relations with Russia. And this is part around the 2016 campaign. Nobody said anything about this. But as soon as President Trump goes anywhere around Putin or anything about Russia, all of a sudden he's a Russian spy, he's a Putin's puppet, and everything else. And this is kind of nonsense. It's just getting fucking insane. It really is. I mean, I see Chris Cuomo, Anderson Cooper going all over this, And here's the thing, if I shut this out. All this Russian collusion narrative has been pushed down our throats over a year and a half, Reminds me of the McCarthy era. The McCarthy era is a guy named Senator McCarthy. He was a senator from like 1944 to early 50, something like that, from Wisconsin. He started this communist scare, had trials on this, ruins people's lives, basically on a false narrative. Yes, McCarthy wasted a lot of time, a lot of money, sacrificed a lot of people's lives and stuff like that over a false narrative called McCarthyism. Now look it up if you don't believe me. He started this communist scare. We believe now that the communists infiltrate Washington, D.C., the federal government, the politicians in Congress, the Senate, and all these people on congressional trial, stuff like this. A lot of this shit was televised on the radio, shit like this. It came out to be nothing. Well, we'll say nothing. It did ruin some people's lives, and it did waste a lot of time, a lot of money on some purity nonsense. But something like this, on this communist scare of McCarthyism, back in the early 50s, I would say, where he did all this talk, all this investigation, wasted all this money, and found absolutely nothing. Nothing. That's all it was. It was nothing. I can't think of the word. Think of the word. I put it right here, But this narrative, I would say, his narrative, this communist narrative that McCarthy pushed back in the early 50s came out to be nothing. All it came out to be was a big waste of time and a lot of big waste of resources and everything else on this nonsense. This is what this Russian investigation is reminding me of. Because here's the thing. Not too long ago, a few days ago, just before President Trump was set to meet Putin at a summit in Europe, I'll say this. They came out, they're going to indict 12 Russian agents for meddling in the 2016 election. Okay, very well. Trey Gowdy says President Trump should pressure Putin to extradite these people from Russia to the United States. I already made a video on that. All I can say is this. They asked Putin about this, and Putin says, pretty much, I got to paraphrase, bring me the evidence. They need to come to Moscow, bring the evidence, talk to these individuals, stuff like that. And so they found him guilty, they'll extradite him. But he reminded him of a treaty, I think, making back in 1999 about criminal stuff like that. They don't harbor criminals. And he reminded of one guy, I think his name was Concord, who raised millions of dollars in Russia, paid no taxes in Russia. I guess he did money laundering in Russia took all that money, funneled all that money out of Russia into the United States, and donated like $200 million to Hillary Clinton's campaign. Was it illegal for that? No. Hey, Lita, how you doing? But what his act was, what he did was illegal in Russia. So basically, I guess Putin's saying, if you want me to extradite these people, you need to extradite Concord to come back to Russia to face trials in Russia for the crimes committed in Russia. And as far as Putin has anything incriminating against Trump, like he said, he didn't even know President Trump's in Russia at that fucking time because President Trump came to Russia as a private citizen. So he didn't know he was in Russia at the time, probably didn't fucking care. Only reason Putin's caring now, because Trump's the president of the United States. Putin's not stupid, and he knows, Putin knows, okay, he needs to have good relations and open dialogue with the United States. And Trump knows that too. The majority of people in Washington knows that too, even though they're trying to turn this against him. This is how insane the Democrat Party has become. This is the reason why they're going to fail. They're going to fail big time. Because if they look right now, the primaries, when Rising Star lost the Democrat primary in New York, got to a far leftist candidate, congressional candidate, a lady, forgot her name, who's running for Congress, she's far leftist, should tell them something. Should tell them something. It really should, but they're not going to listen. And what's going to keep happening, more and more people is going to walk away from them. I'm going to tell you this right here. I'm just going to throw a number out there at you. I don't know how correct this is. I heard like a million or so people walked away from the Democrat Party here lately. I'm going to round that to 2 million people. Supposedly 2 million people in the United States walked away from the Democrat Party. That means in 2018, they're going to get 2 million less votes. I'm not going to say they're all going to start voting Republican, but I will say that 2 million of them will not vote Democrat this year. And I'm not talking as not Russian bots. This is not algorithm or any nonsense like this. This is real everyday people who chooses to walk away from the Democratic Party. I'm not saying California's going ready anytime soon. What I am saying, though, that with 2 million less votes, that makes Congress' job a lot harder to retake Congress or the Senate. That's what they want to do. And basically, they're shooting themselves in the foot with all this nonsense and rhetoric. Oh, by the way, before I shut this out, I apologize. I was reminded of this a few minutes, watching one of Tucker's videos, and watching the other guy too, let's put it that way, Senator Adam Schiff had to go on TV and made the most stupidest statement that Russia is going to defend our Second Amendment rights to bear arms. So that Russia loves our Second Amendment because Americans kill. I'm like, wait a minute, dude. You're saying the Russians is going to promote our Constitution and our Second Amendment, so they want Americans armed, basically? It makes no fucking sense. It really don't make any fucking sense. Why would Russia even give a shit about our Second Amendment rights to bear arms anyway? Why would they care? That would hurt them more than anything else. Because heaven forbid we go to fucking Russia, that would give them a hard time because you have millions of fucking Americans trained in firearms. That means when they join the military, they don't know how to fucking shoot. It makes no sense whatsoever. This is how crazy and fucking insane the Democrat Party has become today. Thanks for everybody for watching. God bless you and have a good day, and bye-bye.